Hello, brothers and sisters. The title of the message today is The Ministry of the Cross. Number one, the root of new creation. Number two, the Bible verse, reference Bible, is Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 33. The living soul contains various functions such as thinking, judging, feeling, etc. It means emotion, reasoning, and willpower. People may think that these kind of functions are the definition of human being. However, they are just functions. The functions can be different, depending on the object of their thinking and judgment. If they express God, they will become tools to express Him. If they express Satan, they will be used as tools to express Satan. Actually, people are not Satan nor God. We are simply living souls so that we can express either Satan or God. We are just like the light bulb expressing the light through the electricity. This is what human being is. Today we can express devils. Tomorrow we can express angels, or vice versa. You may wonder, how could he become like that? Or you may think, he looked so bright like an angel yesterday, but he looks like a devil today. So you may say, I could never imagine that he could look like an evil today. How could it be possible? His facial expressions depend on what the object of his expressions are. Sometimes he can become like a devil, and other times like an angel. He sometimes has a face of God, and other times he may have a face of Satan. Because human being is a living soul, he cannot define his own self. No other animals can express their emotion and feeling so delicately and desperately than human being. When we look at the people's face, we can tell what they are thinking or how they are feeling. God created such kind of man and committed him to keep the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is a mutual dwelling place of God and the human being. Spiritually speaking, this garden is a union between God and people. It is the man's duty and assignment to protect and preserve the union between God and people. If he cannot preserve it, will be degraded down to the simple living soul. If he preserve and protect this union, will be automatically included in God's eternal purpose. Adam became corrupted and the garden was lost, and he lost the duty of protecting the garden. All the blessings that were given by God in the old creation were lost at once. When you keep your position at work, you can get all the rights, benefits, and blessings given to that position. On the very day you are fired, laid off, the rights, benefits, and blessings will be disappeared in one moment. Like the same manner, if we leave God-given position, the blessings given with the old creation will be totally lost. And all the blessings turn into curse. As man left the position, all the blessings disappear, and man had to live in a barren and bleak wilderness. People must sweat and suffer the toil in order to make their living, and the war was started. Suppose everybody is rich and everything is sufficient, they do not need to fight the war. They fight the war because they are not rich enough, both physically and spiritually. When you're really rich, you do not need to fight against other people. When people fight because their land is barren and bleak, with the overflowing blessing of God, we do not need to fight. Why do people have conflict among themselves? If they have enough blessing and overflowing grace, they never have this conflict. If God's grace is overflowing, all the enemies and enmity will be disappeared. They do not need to hate each other. This is the reality of the corrupted human being. He always suffered toil. The word evil is originated from toil. Found in the Etymology Dictionary, working hard is believed to be good in the world. Ironically, however, the origin of evil is to toil. By the sweat of your brow, you will eat your food. This is why people are so busy. People live around, those people always have to suffer conflicts as they themselves are painful. That's why they try to take away peace from other people. When a young child has a fever, or he or she becomes very irritating. They want to be on their mom's back, and the very next moment they want to be put down. They want to go outside and cry out to go inside. Because they are painful themselves, they give pains to their mother. Healthy children eat well, sleep well, play well, and always happy. But the sick children continue to cry, make others annoying, and give a hard time to their parents. The whole family suffer because of that one child. Let alone the child. Suppose a grown-up demanded like a sick child. How would it be? When even a little child make the whole family lose the peace, what would happen to the family when father, the head of the family, is not satisfied with his own life? The whole family will suffer together and live in a very dark, tense, violent, and dismal, and unhappy atmosphere. Adam lost his position and lost his blessing at the same time. He could not feel the satisfaction no matter what he had or what he did. As he left the garden, people started to be divided. Brothers and sisters were divided. Cain and Abel were divided. All of the descendants were divided. Terrible. Everyone was divided in the time of Nephilim and Babel, and the division has been continued on until today. Why are we divided? We continue to blame each other. We say, you are to blame, you are to blame. If you get rid of one man, we sometimes think the division will stop, but another man who causes division will appear again. In fact, it was all caused because of my own corrupted eyes. As I judge other people with my own corrupted criteria, the division, no way. Continue on. That's inevitable. At this very position, God promised the descent of a woman. God said to the serpent, and I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He'll crush your head, and you will strike his heel. This is God's promise for the new mankind. From this point on, the new creation was already started. The new creation was also started because of God's willpower. God, who worked in the old creation, now started his new creation because of his willpower. The new creation is absolutely necessary in this corrupted situation. In Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31, 33, it says, when I'll make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, I'll put my laws in their mind and write it on their hearts. I'll become their God, and they'll become my people. God used various kinds of efforts and methods during the Old Covenant in the Old Testament time. Now he needs to make a new covenant in this new Testament time. First, he gave them the laws of Moses and tried to teach his people. And next step was pour the grace of God and appreciate them. All of God's effort did not end with good results. So God said through the prophet Jeremiah, I'll put my laws in their mind and write it on their hearts. I'll be their God and they'll be my people. What should he do to put his laws in their mind and write it in their hearts? It is that easy and simple for God? No, it is not that simple. Certain conditions are absolutely necessary in order to sow his seed and sow his words into ourselves. Conditions are not necessary in order to provide forgiveness. But in order to inscribe his law in us, certain conditions are required. It is the cross. Therefore, the cross is the root of creation and the new creation. To plant God's law into the hearts of human beings, certain conditions should be fulfilled. On what position will it be possible? What kind of conditions? It is the position of the crucifixion. My laws and God's laws are different. In order to inscribe his laws in my laws, my laws should be gotten rid of. In order to inscribe God's thoughts in my thoughts must be abolished. I cannot mix up my thoughts with God's thoughts. It's impossible. God's law cannot be added up on my laws. One of them must be gone. Only then the new creation is possible. The cross of Jesus Christ is the root and the foundation and the unique condition for the new creation. God's will become the only hope for the corrupted human being. Even though we may be corrupted, his will and purpose has never been changed. This is our hope. What is the raw material of the construction for the new creation? When God created man, he created man out of dust. God breathed the breath of life into his nostril, and he became a living soul. Like the same manner, new creation also needs a certain kind of raw material and a construction material. This new raw material is the character, and this character is the character of Jesus Christ. When people talk about the character in the world, they add up such things as morality, temperaments of philosophy, arts, culture, etc. They call that is the character in the world. But it is not the original character. It is the character that is manipulated by human hands and effort. The true character is the one which was expressed on the cross when Jesus was crucified, and it was the true position of the creatures. The true character of man is expressed only in true man's position, which is God-given. All the creatures have God-given position when they were created. When they were created, their position were appointed already by God, which cannot be manipulated by human hands. The true character in the whole universe is the character of Jesus Christ, who was crucified on the cross. That is our original position. That is eternal entity. That is the blueprint through which we all, mankind, were created. Therefore, we must return to the blueprint. We must return to the original entity, eternal entity, to the prototype man, Jesus Christ. Thank you. Hallelujah. May God bless every one of you. Thank you again. Thank you.